Okay, here we are on the other side of the hill. Down over there is where I gave you guys a little look of campus here. But just kind of looking around, see some other things, some other Butte landmarks that are uptown here. The Immaculate Conception Church is an old Catholic church. I think it's a nice view of here because you can see that it's built kind of like a cathedral in the shape of a cross. That's how they used to build them. There you can get a good view of some of the head frames from around here. This one, I believe, is the Anselmo mine frame. And anybody who doesn't know, these old, they call them head frames or gallows frames or mining frames. There's, I don't know the number dotted around, but it's got to be at least a dozen. And they're essentially just big elevators that lifted the miners in and out. Just over here, I believe, is the original mine frame. If anybody was in town for the National Folk Festival, that's where the main stage was, just across Main Street from the old St. Mary's. And then, I'm not sure what that one is, but up here, let me zoom in on this for you, is the Mountain Con. And there's a walking trail, actually, an old railroad that comes up from campus, and they just, sorry, I apologize for the shakiness. They just fixed up a little park area there, so I'm excited for that to open up. I go running up there a lot. And you might have seen this one. It's got paint on the side that says a mile high and a mile deep. Just one of the phrases that's been used to describe Butte over the years. Kind of looking over here, if I can find it. Oh, there we are. These are our off-campus apartments, Montana Tech apartment housing. So they were either sold or donated, I can't remember which, by the Anaconda Company back in the 60s, I think. They used to be painted green, so everybody kind of calls them the Greens. They're this cream color now. But we have married and single students that rent apartments from us. And so that's also Montana Tech property. Other than that, you can kind of see some of the old mine stuff going on. The Berkeley pit's over there somewhere. Not a really good view down into it from up here. And then the East Ridge is over there. There's a statue of the Blessed Virgin Mary, Our Lady of the Rockies. One of these days I'll take another hike up there, and that's a pretty spectacular view of a kind of down in the flats of Butte. Other than that, another kind of landmark here is St. James Hospital. The Sisters of Charity of Leavenworth, I believe, are the administrators of that. And then up this direction is kind of just old uptown Butte. The courthouse is over there. The new prison that was built a few years ago. But I would put, I've been to places like Portland and Seattle and seen their downtowns when they're kind of hopping. I think if Butte were in its heyday, there was stuff going on, people uptown, I would put it against any downtown city in the country. I think there's some really cool buildings down there. If you've never been, I highly recommend checking it out. You can go on underground walking tours, visit old speakeasies, tunnels, old brothels, just all kinds of neat stuff. The summertime is a great time to travel to Butte. There's all kinds of festivals and events that go on. So, if any of you guys out there know me personally, you probably know how much I love it here. I can't imagine making my home anywhere except Butte. It's where I've spent most of my adult life. I grew up in a small town called Darby in the Bitterroot Valley, south of Missoula. So that's where I spent my formative years, and it's probably actually my hometown. But if anyone asks me now where I lived or where I'm from, I would definitely say Butte. Even though, as I was told by an old Butte guy, you can't really say you're from Butte unless you had a grandpa who was down in the mines and were born here. So I wouldn't try to take that away from any true Butte natives that happen to be watching. But I just love it here, and I just feel like there's an amazing community. There's a real heart to this town, and I've met amazing people and just been welcomed with open arms. And other people I've talked to that live here that are transplants like myself have said the same thing. There's just a real sense of community. It's not a big city in the grand scheme of things, but it is kind of a big city in as far as Montana standards go. But it still has a community feel, so I really appreciate that. I guess just to give you guys a view of what the other side of the Big Butte looks like, You can kind of see the interstate zipping off to the west over there. But there's just some mountains, some hills. I know I've heard some gunshots going off, people shooting like you do in Montana on the weekends. And then a lot of people, I think, run their dogs out here. There's some races coming up that'll kind of zip around through here. And yeah, just the rugged beauty of this town. I know I've heard a lot of people from other places that haven't spent a whole lot of time in Butte that just drive by on the interstate and say, oh, it kind of looks like a depressing town, or, oh, you know, it looks a little depleted. But, and I could see how you would think that, just from the aesthetics of it. It does have this ruggedness, but I think it's a rugged beauty. And there's just so many different places I can take you guys. Up this direction is the Granite Mountain Mine Memorial. You can kind of see, let me try to push in on that. There's a little power station kind of up there. Right over there. One of these days we'll make it up there. Coincidentally, there's a band called the Decemberists, and their lead singer grew up in Helena. They're from Portland now, but he grew up in Helena, went to school at the University of Montana. Their new album came out last week, I think, and it's called The King is Dead. It's the #1 album in the country right now, according to the Billboard 200. And either the 4th or 5th track is called Rocks in the Box, and it's a really good tune, and it's about Butte, and it mentions the Granite Mountain Mine. So there's a memorial up there. We'll make it to one of these times. If I remember when I get back down, I'll post a link to that song so you guys can check it out. They're a really good band. I've seen them live a handful of times. Highly recommend them. So yeah, that's this is Butte. This is where Montana Tech is. Montana Tech and Butte, I would say, are linked. You can't have one without the other. And I just am happy. I don't know how long-winded I've seemed, but I'm happy you guys have stuck along the 12 viewers who are still watching this. But over the next year, I'm going to take you guys with me when I go on hikes around town, when we go to events, have student activities. So you and me and the town of Butte are going to get really intimate, and you're gonna get a good view of what it looks like here. Oh, somebody's coming up. They're cheaters. They're driving up. That's okay though. We're not here to judge, right? So anyways, let me flip this around, zoom this out. This is Jacob Flock. I had to throw my cap back on. It got a little cold and windy up here. But it's a great day to be a digger. It's a great day to live in Butte and to be in what I think is the greatest city and the greatest state and the greatest country in the world. So thank you guys again for sticking around. Check back in soon. My next video will probably be down on campus, some activity that's going on down there. So yeah, I hope whatever you guys are doing, you're having a good time, and I will check in with you soon. Okay, Excelsior.